I wanted to make a documentary on Jerry Siegel because he's the most fascinating man I ever met. And why is he so interesting? Because he's a juxtaposition of opposites. He is absolutely brilliant. He has a photographic memory, but he'll lose his car for 2 hours. He's a math genius and a business genius, but then he's a little goofy also, and he'll go party for 3 days. What is so interesting is that most of us are opposites. We're not, but everyone thinks you have to be black or white and all or nothing, and you don't. Jerry shows us that you can be a genius and a goofball, that you can be forgetful and brilliant. We can be both, most of us are. In life, we don't have to be all or nothing, and Jerry has showed us that you can be opposites and still be absolutely wonderful. I'm here with possibly my favorite diamond dealer in the whole world. This is Jerry Siegel from Iowa. Hi. And just to show you what brilliant minds we have on JHJ, Jerry looks just like a normal, ordinary jeweler, but he is absolutely brilliant. I like to play this game where I give him 2 numbers and he can multiply or divide them in his head faster than I can do it on a calculator. He can do this sober or otherwise. He happens to be sober right now. Right here, breathe. Okay, well, borderline. It is from last night. It's still breakfast. So, okay, Jerry, what is 136 divided by 14?
9.714.
What? You can go to more decimal points? That's insane. First of all, even just to get to 9 is incredible. Yes, you went to 5 decimal points. That's insane. If anyone here could even do it with 1 decimal point. Oh my gosh.
7,
Look at he's
1,
still going. This is so crazy. We love this guy. We have a lot of brilliant minds on JHJ. Thank you.
Where do you even begin with Jerry Siegel?
Well, first thing, I know that 10 times 14 is 140, so it can't be 10. So 9 is the first number. Okay.
Jerry Siegel's been a total and eccentric constant in my entire life.
6 minus 126 is 10.
Jerry is just absolutely mental when it comes to math, and is the person who actually taught me how to do a lot of mental math.
98.
You've lost
100
me.
minus 98 is 2. Bring down the zeros. 20. 14 into 20 is 1.
This is a man who can calculate things faster than you could calculate them in a calculator. While you're busy punching in the numbers, Jerry's already moved on to the 3rd or 4th term in the math
70
sequence.
minus 70 is 10. Then you got 100, so then you're back to the 714.
Jerry Siegel, what can we say? He's one of a kind. I think my initial impression with him was just curiosity. I was at, in the hospitality suite at one of my first Polygon conclaves, and I noticed this guy with his backpack rolling in, and as soon as he walks in, immediately people just swarm to him and like waiting 3 deep to sit to him, get his attention, and be at the table and try to buy and sell with him. And since nothing draws a crowd like a crowd, I mean, we all kind of gather around, and I'm like, this is somebody eventually I've got to get to know.
So my name is Carrie Oster, and I'm the jewelry manager here at Siegel's Jewelry. I've worked for the Siegel family for 31 years.
That's a long time.
It is a long time, over half my life.
Well, I've been in this business for 40 years, got a couple kids. Better off that I started late, because I probably, when I was normal age to have kids in my 30s, I probably wasn't mature enough to have kids and probably wanted to go out too much and do too many things. Right after World War II, my dad was in the war, and he came back, and my dad and my grandfather were watch salesmen from Minneapolis, and they were traveling watch salesmen, and they came to Cedar Rapids trying to sell watches to people, and they went to this pawn shop, and the guy said, sorry, I'm not interested in buying anything because I'm trying to sell my business. And so he offered them the business, so they took a hotel room that night and thought about it, and next day made an offer and bought the pawn shop. I came in 1979, right out of high school. My dad wanted me to go to college, and I decided I had enough school.
Hi, I'm Ken Siegel, Jerry's brother, business partner over the last 30 years. One of the funny stories, I guess, growing up, there's a couple, but first one really entails Jerry was always brilliant. The Iowa Basic Skills Test was something we took in 7th grade all the way up till 8th grade on. And in 7th grade, Jerry passed the exam 100%. Didn't miss anything on the skills test. In 8th grade, Jerry decided this is really stupid. Why would I want to be taking the same test over again? And decided he was going to miss every problem. So he scored 0 on the next year's test. And that was his way of saying that I'm just way too smart for school.
My first dealing that I ever did a deal with him, I was just blown away by his memory, by his calculations and estimations of the market. He knew exactly what the market was on a HSI1. He would just kind of like look up at the sky and go, list on the 90 HSI1 is 5,000 a carat. And it's like a 45 back stone. So we're talking 27.50 a carat times 0.9 is 27.45. And, eventually I learned it's like you don't even have to have a calculator to check the work. I've always been good at estimations, but I was blown away how he just had this, an incredible memory.
I mean, he's been a genius since birth, which is fascinating, a photographic memory, which we all wish we could have. I mean, Jerry can tell you, something from 20 years ago, what he paid for it, and he remembers everything.
Oh, well, we had a gentleman that had actually sold us a diamond probably 12 years ago or so, and came back in the store maybe, 5-6 years later, was looking to replace it. Jerry comes walking in and he's like, "Hey, so-and-so, yeah, I think I still got your diamond back in my office." And here he had taken the diamond out of the mounting, but still had the gentleman's original diamond. My first impression of Jerry, actually I was a little intimidated maybe, because he was a little quiet, but as time went on and I, like I said, started working closer with him, really got to know him on more of a personal level. He's just a wonderful guy.
I didn't used to be that much of a social person. I was pretty much like a loner for a long time. I don't know what happened. Something kicked in. I never really thought about jewelry, I'll be honest. I mean, when I was in high school, I never wanted to be a jeweler. The worst thing is I still remember that I lost the spelling bee because the word I misspelled was sapphire.
Maybe 9 years ago. He asked me to come along with him to the JCK show in New York. So, of course, I was stoked that he asked me, so went along. And, he had told me, I got several appointments kind of set up. You just kind of wander around, check things out. If you see things we need for the store, just have them hold it, give them my card, we'll come back around, that sort of thing. And I think the show was supposed to close up around 6 o'clock that day. And it was 6:15 and, everybody was pretty much closing up and kind of wondering, okay, Jerry's going to be coming around the corner any minute. 7 o'clock rolls around. 7:30, finally, here he comes. Sorry, got stuck with this guy. I got one more guy to meet. And then off in the distance, there was chatter, and I saw at least 4 or 5 other people talking like they still wanted to get an opportunity to meet with Jerry. And I guess that's when it really sunk into me what an influence he is on this business.
There's real time and there's Jerry time. When Jerry tells you he's going to be somewhere, you've got to add 12 to 24 hours to that. I've won bets on guessing what time Jerry will be here. I've won bets with Jerry on guessing what time he'll actually show up.
This is a man who, despite being the most reliable person when you actually truly need something, if he tells you that he's going to be there in an hour, at least give him 2.5 hours.
Well, I show up a lot of these events like these business events that start at 9 o'clock, I'll walk in about 11:30. I mean, one guy that's on the One Network, that the head of the One Network, he always, when he posts like the times of an event, he'll post like 11 o'clock until Jerry Siegel leaves. So I'm kind of famous for being like last in and last out.
But he'll also, lose his car for an hour and a half. And he's the most laid back, crazy partier person that you could ever hope to meet. I mean, I don't know one person that doesn't have a wild story about him.
And I'm guessing I'm not the only one that has drinking stories about Jerry. I mean, that guy's got a cast iron liver. I genuinely think cocktails have been invented in his stomach. This guy, he can do long division after drinking a bottle of gin.
His 60th birthday last year at a local place, and we went up and we were talking, shooting with people, and Jerry comes walking up, and all of a sudden, I don't know what the conversation was, or if somebody brought it up or what, but all of a sudden, here he is reciting the alphabet backwards. And I mean, he did it in like 15 seconds. And I looked at him and I'm like, where did that come from?
But at the end of the day, I still have to say, Jerry's one of the sweetest, most transparent, generous, kind people you'll ever meet.
He's definitely somebody that really, he's one of my best friends in the business. And, I consider myself really lucky that somebody that ethical, that fair, that just entertaining, engaging, friendly, and sincere is in my orbit. And anybody that has been lucky enough to sit with him or get to know him knows that. So it's my honor to say anything about Jerry, and anybody that doesn't know him should get to know him.
The longer I got to know him, that I realized that it's really his heart that is why everyone loves him. So his brains are great too, but he is really someone that'll do anything for a friend. He will just go the extra mile.
Well, I do want to thank all my friends, because a lot of the people that I do business with, I also consider my friends, people I feel like I can go hang out, have a drink with, tell some of my stupid stories to, and get hammered and not feel any regrets. So I feel like it's kind of fun, when I do wholesale business. I mean, nothing's always that serious. I mean, that's the thing I probably most like about this business, is that most of the people that I do business with us are also considered friends and not just business associates.